Okay, I got the junction box all soldered up, all 26 some odd wires. You can see them all right here. So the way I did this was that I, per the recommendation of someone up on the internet, I didn't take the pins out. What I did is I chopped off all the wires at about an inch above the block, and then I soldered the two wires together. And so I am no expert in soldering. In fact, I have very little experience in soldering, but I think I did a pretty good job. The exception being pin number 1 here is a total disaster. That's the first one I did. After I did pin number 1, just as an experiment, I started from over here and worked this way, so that the wires were out of my way as I marched down the block. Then what I'm going to do is I've already on half of these things. I've already got these. You can see this. I've got. Let's see here. Yeah, you can see it there. This is a. There we go. This thing right here. There's a bit of a heat shrink tubing right here. So each one of the wires has got this. So it slides all the way over the wire and then down into the block itself, and should seal that up nicely. If you recall, this kit right here is going to cover that, so I'm not too worried about moisture getting in there. So this will act as the insulator for the wire, and I've got them for all the wires. Slide them all on there, put a bit of heat on them, and it should seal them all up. Tomorrow I will start threading the harness itself and start soldering these injectors. That's going to be a big job. 12 injectors, 2 wires each, 24 connections, plus some tricky ones. Alright, that's it for now. So I completed wiring the junction block here. Got all my wires in there and all the heat shrink tubing on there. I'm about ready to close this up. I was thinking about checking the continuity of every wire, but I checked one and it was pretty solid, and based on the solders that I have in there, it looks pretty solid. So I think I'm just going to close this thing up. I'm kind of hurrying this process along because I have to, before I can weld the end connectors on, I have to make sure I have the right length. And I can't do that until this is fully installed. So after checking one, I think it's good. So I'm just going to run some heat over the heat shrink here, shrink them up, close this up, screw it together, and call it good. As you can see, I've added some of this flexible cable housing here. I've also reinstalled the plastic housing thing here, the shield. Actually, I couldn't get it through this part here, so I just cut it off. What I was thinking about doing actually was maybe splitting this down the middle, because this part of the wiring harness rubs up against the engine, and as you know, the engine can vibrate independently from the car itself, and this thing protects the wiring harness from the engine and from the body as it vibrates. So I do regret a little bit cutting this off, but what I think I'll do is split it down the center, put it back on there, and wrap it in electrical tape. It should be good to go. I do have this set of braided wiring protector here, and this second set here. This part separates the engine bay from the firewall. Yeah, so what I'm going to do now is shrink these shrink wraps, close this guy up, and then we'll start installing the end connectors. black heat shrink wrap is for the grounds. There's 2 grounds, 16 and 17. They connect all the grounds for the fuel injectors and for the crankshaft sensors. All right, boy, this is smoking hot. I think we're in good shape. Yeah. Let's see if it slides in nicely. Ooh. It's looking good. This is a little tricky. I didn't realize this at first, but getting the this block back inside this case, that was a bit tricky. So in here, down here on this side, there's a little tab. And you have to thread that tab into this channel right here. See if you can see that. Yeah. Into here. And then you thread it in backwards into there, and then you have to pull the cables through, and this part right here is where the screw goes into. That ultimately comes down into goes down to the threads, and you put the screw in there. So it's a really tight fit with all those all the wires. The wires are a bit thicker than stock. That's okay. But with the thicker wires, that soldered connection and the shrink wrap gets really tight in there. So this is a bit tricky. So keep that in mind. You may want to come up with a different method of doing this, but unfortunately you can't see the tab in there, but it fits perfectly inside of this channel. And then you just keep on going and force this thing down here like this, and eventually it'll go. Actually, that looks pretty good. I could screw that in right now and it'll be fine.